Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Stink King Sports. I'm your host, Nicholas Stink King, and today I'm going to be going over my 2021 to 2022 NFL season predictions, going over the division winners and who I think will end up winning, some awards in the Super Bowl and all that. Starting off in the NFC South, where we did have a game last night, a thrilling game with a thrilling finish from the Buccaneers and the Cowboys. I did have these rankings prior to the game. In fourth place in the NFC South, I have the Atlanta Falcons. They didn't do enough to upgrade their defense. Yes, their offensive is stellar, but they did lose Julio Jones. I don't think they're strong enough to even compete for a playoff spot, nor their division. Number three, I have the Panthers. They have a young defense. Sam Darnold's now in Carolina. They have good young receivers with Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. And McCaffrey's coming back, so I think there's a lot of upside in Carolina. Don't think it's their year yet, but I'm encouraged to see what they can do this year. Next, I have the Saints with Jameis Winston holding the reins this year after Drew Brees' retirement. Should be interesting to see how New Orleans competes this year in the NFC. Their defense has only gotten older, so I'm not entirely confident as I was in them last year. But Alvin Kamara is still a top three running back in the game. I mean, you have some very versatile offensive weapons. So I'm going to have the Saints coming in at number two from the South. I think their defense is good enough to hold them in that spot. And number one, I have the Buccaneers. Yes, their defense didn't look too encouraging last night, but Brady finds a way to win. I love Tom Brady. They have all 22 starters returning, and I just think their defense is going to end up turning stuff around. I think they're a good quality team. I like the offense. They probably have the best receiving core in the league with Godwin, Evans, and Antonio Brown. They have two good tight ends with Gronk and Howard. So give me the Buccaneers at the top of the South. Moving on to the North and last place, I have the Lions. No surprise there. They're expected to be in the bottom of every statistical category in the NFC. I mean, this is a rebuild franchise as it has been over the past couple of seasons. Nothing is expected from the Lions this year, and I don't expect anything from them. Number three, I have the Vikings. Yes, Dalvin Cook is going to be running behind a far better offensive line, but Mike Zimmer has said that this Vikings defense is among the worst he's ever coached, which doesn't mean much on the encouragement side for the Vikings season. Kirk Cousins, I don't have much faith in, so I'm going to have the Vikings at number three. Number two, I have the Chicago Bears. Once Justin Fields takes the reins, I think they're going to be a very competitive team. Their defense has been good over the past couple of seasons. They have some solid targets for Fields to develop around, and I think he's going to fit in well into Nagy's offense. So give me the Bears at number two. And at number one, no surprise, I have the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers, the reigning MVP. Devontae Adams, it's bust. It's win or bust here for the Packers. Super Bowl or bust, excuse me. And I think we're going to need to perform. Jair Alexander is the second best cornerback in the league. Give me the Packers atop the NFC North. Moving on to the NFC West. In fourth, this is the toughest division in football, in my opinion. In fourth place, I have the Arizona Cardinals. I think they could still make the playoffs as a last-place team. I really do. I think this division is that good. I just think the Cardinals did enough to upgrade their defense, which was their weak suit last year. Yes, they added more weapons around Kyler Murray with A.J. Green, and they did add J.J. Watt on the defensive line. However, we don't know how healthy he will be, how much he would produce. And I think it's a couple more years till the Cardinals really put themselves atop the NFC West. Moving on, I have in third place the Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett will prove to be another great offensive trio. However, their defense is weak. In my opinion, we saw that in the playoffs last year. They kind of got abused towards the end of the year, so I'm going to have them coming in at third place. And number two, I have the 49ers. With everybody returning back to full health and Trey Lance is a rookie quarterback, Kyle Shanahan, I think, is going to do wonders with this team this year and lead them to a second-place spot in the division. They have young talent with Brandon Ayuk. They just have some solid backs, Mostert and all them. And they just have some great defensive talent with Nick Bosa and the likes of other players. Give me the 49ers to come in second place in their division. And number one, I have the Rams, the best defense in football. I mean, you have Aaron Donald, the best defensive lineman we have seen in the past 25 years, arguably. You have Jalen Ramsey, the best cornerback, in the NFL. And then you have Matthew Stafford, who's coming from Detroit to join the Rams on a nice trade. Robert Woods is also going to be on that team. Cooper Kupp. I think they have some great offensive weapons. I'm excited to see what the Rams will do this year. I have them atop the NFC West. Moving on to the East, in last place, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't have much faith in Jalen Hurts whatsoever as a passer. I think their defense is rather weak, so I'm going to have Philadelphia coming in fourth place. And in third place, I have the New York Giants, one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. Daniel Jones has not shown to be a top 20 quarterback in the NFL thus far. I mean, their offensive weapons, yes, they have Sterling Shepard. Evan Ingram is a drops machine. Darius Slayton, yes, but I don't think it's going to be enough to prevail the Giants past a third place spot in the division. Number two, I have the Cowboys. Their high-powered offense and their great trio of wide receivers with Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, and Amari Cooper should prove to be a major threat for opposing defenses. Dak Prescott is coming off major ankle injury, but I think he should return to full strength and have a fantastic comeback season. However, their defense will end up proving to be the detriment of this team, the Achilles heel, if you would say. Their secondary, they have not done much to upgrade, and that has been their weak spot. And it did get abused last night. I'm being a little bit biased. It did get abused last night. But all in all, I did have these rankings prior to last night's game, and I had the Cowboys in second, just adding on to the fact as why I have them there. And in first place, I have the Washington football team. Their defense is stellar, only getting older, only getting more experience. Chase Young, the reigning defensive rookie of the year. I mean, what else can I say? You brought in Ryan Fitzpatrick, Curtis Samuel, some more offensive weapons to match alongside Terry McLaurin and Antonio Gibson. I think Washington's going to have a very nice year. I think they'll win the NFC East. Moving on to the AFC South. I have the Houston Texans coming in last place. I think it's going to be the unanimous worst team in the league. Deshaun Watson's not even starting on Sunday. It's going to be Tyrod Taylor. So this team's a mess right now. I don't trust anything going on with the Texans. I have them in fourth place. In third place, I have the Trevor Lawrence-led Jaguars. Yes, the rookie quarterback Trevor Lawrence, who had a historic career in Clemson. I think the Jaguars with a young defense, some young targets, and Travis Etienne now in Jacksonville, James Robinson. You have some young wide receivers. Give me the Jags to come in third as a nice little surprise team, maybe notching 6 or 7 wins this year in this long season. In second place, I have the Colts. I would have them in first had Carson Wentz not gotten injured. I don't know how they're going to do, to be honest with you. Yes, Sam Ehlinger had a fantastic preseason, but I don't know who's going to play for them. I don't know how they're going to perform against first-team defenses after being game planned for weeks ahead of time. I don't know how the Colts are going to do. Their defense, yes, is elite, but right now I don't have much faith in the quarterback scenario and the offensive weapon scenario. Yes, they have Jonathan Taylor, but Quentin Nelson is out as well, so that's going to limit the run game quite a bit. And their offensive targets, T.Y. Hilton is once again injured. He cannot stay healthy. So I think the Colts, an injury-prone team right now, I'm going to have them in second place. And in first place, I have the offensively stacked Tennessee Titans, led by Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, Julio Jones, and A.J. Brown. One of the most explosive offenses in the AFC, probably right behind the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm excited to see what the Titans do this year. Yes, their defense is weak, and I think that is going to be the Achilles heel for them this year, limiting them in the postseason. However, I do have them in the regular season topping the AFC South. Moving on to the AFC North, in last place, I have the Bengals. No surprise there. Weak offensive line, weak defense, losing some key weapons. Yes, Joe Burrow should be returning, but I don't think it is his year quite yet. In third place, I have the Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger, we saw how far he declined last year, arm strength-wise. His shoulder looked extremely weak, and their postseason game was severely messy. We saw the Pittsburgh collapse last year. I don't know how effective they're going to be this year. Yes, they have Najee Harris, which should add a very, very nice run game to complement Big Ben. However, I don't have much confidence in Big Ben's arm strength throughout the entire 17-game season. So I'm going to have the Steelers coming in third place. Their defense, they lost some key players. I have the Steelers in third. In second place, after losing all 3 starting running backs, I have the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson is an elite quarterback. I don't think there's any debate about it whatsoever. And I think their defense is just absolutely stellar. Yes, they lost key players like Matthew Judon. However, I am extremely confident in this Ravens team to notch a second-place spot in their division. And in first place, I have the Cleveland Browns, a very stacked roster. Myles Garrett, Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Odell Beckham, da-da-da-da-da. List goes on and on. Their offensive line is great. They gave the Chiefs a good run for their money last year in the postseason. I think the Browns have a very good shot to even make the Super Bowl. I really do. If anybody's going to come out of the AFC, I think the Browns can be one of those teams. I just think Baker Mayfield's going to have a career year. Odell Beckham coming off an injury is going to bounce back. Yes, he hasn't produced like he did in New York. However, I have full confidence in the Browns this year after upgrading their defense slightly to win the AFC North. And finally, the AFC West. In last place, I have the Denver Broncos. I think this is going to be a big fallback year. Drew Lock is not panning out as a starting quarterback. He has lost his job now to Teddy Bridgewater. Their defense has only gotten older and worse. People are still living on that high from 5 years ago, and I don't trust it. Yes, they have Cortland Sutton and KJ Hamler, weapons like that, but I don't think it's going to be enough to prevail them past last place. In third place, I have the Raiders, led by a heavy run game-based team, with Darren Waller also being one of the best tight ends in the NFL right now. I think the Raiders will be good enough offensively to notch a third-place spot. Their defense, yes, it's kind of just mediocre, but the offense, I think, should be enough to propel them to a third-place spot. In second place, I have the Chargers, led by sophomore quarterback Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler returning, Keenan Allen as the number 1 wide receiver, and a far better defense with Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram. I think it's going to be a fantastic team to watch this year. Keep your eye on. I think the Chargers will win a game against the Chiefs this year. I really do. I think the Chargers are a very good team. They have a tough matchup against the football team coming up in week 1. However, I think they're good enough to win the second spot in their division. And in first place, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. Not much to say there. Great offense, great defense, great head coach. They've been to the Super Bowl back-to-back years. I expect it to be 3, maybe. And the AFC East, last place I have the Jets. Yes, they did just pick up Zach Wilson in the draft. However, the Jets have so many holes that not even Zach Wilson can fill them. So I'd have them coming in last place. And third place, I have the Dolphins. I think Deshaun Watson could end up in Miami by the end of the year. Tua Tagovailoa did not have an encouraging rookie season. His arm strength looked weak and rather poor, to be honest. He didn't throw the ball downfield effectively, and he was constantly replaced by Ryan Fitzpatrick. Without that safety net, I think the Dolphins' defense will be put to waste this year as Tua Tagovailoa's struggles continue. In second place, I have the Patriots. A better defense. You have Mac Jones now starting. I think Belichick knows something that we don't, and I expect the Patriots to be a really big surprise team this year. Give me the Patriots to win second in their division and have a chance for first. But in first place, I'm going to have the Bills. I mean, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, just a fantastic defense. I am excited to see what the Bills can do this year. It could be their year. I am extremely excited for how this football season is going to shape up. But these are my division winners. Coming out of the AFC East, I have the Bills. AFC West, Chiefs. AFC North, Browns. AFC South, Titans. NFC East, the football team. NFC West, Rams. NFC North, Packers. And NFC South, Buccaneers. Just a couple quick notes right now. I'm going to have my MVP this year. It's either going to be Kyler Murray or I'm having Josh Allen. Yes, Josh Allen is not the most unpopular pick. However, I think Kyler Murray is. And I think Kyler Murray, with new weapons, is going to have a chance to be an extremely explosive offensive threat. He had a chance for it last year throughout the first couple weeks. He was in the running. But I think Kyler Murray could be his year to win MVP if he keeps up his amazing play like he did early on last season. So Kyler Murray or Josh Allen are my 2 top MVP candidates. The conference championship games right now, I think, are the Rams and the Bucks, and the Chiefs and the Bills. I think it's still too early for the Browns, to be honest. I have the Chiefs coming out of the AFC and the Bucks coming out of the NFC. Yes, I know that's not very fun. However, I mean, they're just the 2 best teams in football right now, in my opinion. And I have the Bucks winning again. I have the Bucks winning the Super Bowl once again, going back-to-back, Brady notching his 8th ring. I don't see anybody beating them right now. I think they're the best team in football. Yes, this will be more of a week-to-week thing, as we all know. However, I have the Buccaneers winning the Super Bowl this year. The worst team in the NFL, I have the Texans. My surprise team, I already expressed, the Patriots. And the most disappointing team for me is the Broncos. Many people have been saying that Bridgewater can potentially pose them to a wildcard spot, but their offense is lackluster at best, and the surrounding defense is not as high as it was 5 years ago. All in all, though, those are my 2021 NFL season predictions. Enjoy the fact that football is back. We had a great game last night. I do think it was a push-off. Godwin did push off. The refs bailed Brady out once again. However, it is what it is. History has been written. Bucks are 1-0. Cowboys are 1-1, and I'm not complaining. So go football team, and enjoy these games on Sunday, and I'm out. Peace.